Mm.
So today we will discuss this right to fair compensation and transparency in land acquisition, rehabilitation and resettlement act, and what are the impacts. Because many times it happens that valuers think that the land bank valuations or any financial institute valuations, but many valuers ignores these subjects. But it is very important type topic, because land acquisition is related, because it is the most authentic evidence as far as valuation is concerned, because the proceedings are carried out by government valuers, and you people, the private people, or anyone can use this data, and on this basis you can prove that I am the correct. So today, first thing, what is the in India, government has power to acquire land for the public purpose. You know, everyone knows. But that means the central and state government, municipal council, then local planning authorities, many municipalities. Every municipality has the right. Then Jilla Parishad, ZPs, for various public purpose. Only one thing remember, various public purpose word is very important. For infrastructural projects or for public purpose, they can acquire the land. So main objective, what was happening? In the earlier days, no one was going to hand over their land to the government for any project. Why? What was the reason? Because only the reason was right to fair compensation and transparency was not there. Now, central government has taken this very good decision regarding this land acquisition and rehabilitation. So we will discuss everything, and I will try my best, because I have practically worked as a land acquisition officer with divisional commissioner office also for the 8 districts in Marathwada region, and also worked as a land acquisition officer, expert land acquisition officer in the district collector office also. At that time, I have experienced many things, because Section 8 earlier in this act, as per Land Acquisition Act 1894, it is called as Section 84, and the expert valuers posts were in every collector, in particularly in Maharashtra. In every district collector, every 2 districts have one post, 2 or 3 districts. Now these posts, that is expert valuer, and these so that means there are so many land acquisition cases are pending. And but one thing I have observed, many times I have observed that values do not come forward regarding these valuations. But most of the times I have seen that some advocates handle this case, but they do not have the knowledge regarding these, because they are not the authorities also while submitting the evidence and everything, because land and building valuation are so that means this was necessary, that being a valuer you should know the all the proceeding, what is, because actually you people who are working in the you are expert in the valuations, but still what is the process there? Because many times you need to go to the courts, district courts, then high courts, then supreme courts, even supreme courts. There are so many land acquisition matters are there, and day by day the matters will increase definitely. Why? What is the reason behind this? Because so many land acquisition proceedings are going on everywhere, in every part of India. You go any part of the India, you will find the land acquisition proceedings are going on there. But what is happening? There are certain but the actually land valuations are carried by government departments. But how will it affect? What is the relation with these private valuers then? That I will explain today, and I will try to explain in my own way, and in the practical manner. We will discuss in the friendly manner today, so that what land designated for the acquisition. What type of lands they can acquire? It is that means any public authority, there are certain different rules regarding the when they are acquiring the land. So land acquisition proceedings are different for some national highway authority. Then as per Land Acquisition Act LARA 2013, then in the certain urban areas, there are some different provision, particularly in Maharashtra. I don't know about the other states, but in particularly in Maharashtra, when the local body is acquiring the land, how will it affect? I will try to explain. We'll just, because you people must know what was the difference, because many times now, so there will be so many court matters in the coming days. So I think you need not be an expert as a land acquisition officer, but you should have, being a valuer, you should have some primary knowledge regarding this old act. What is the difference between why this act come into force? So main thing was that old act, in old act, there were no provisions regarding the So what was happening earlier? Only government valuers were doing the valuations, because all the proceedings, these are the legal proceedings. The land acquisition officer, collector is the main authority regarding this, and then higher authority is the divisional commissioner. So what was happening? People have to accept whatever valuation carried by those officers. They have to accept it. But those who are those who have knowledge, or those who can consult with the valuers, but many people do not come forward. There are certain time limits. You need to go to appeal in the certain time limit. There are certain legal provisions there. So in the new act, but main function related with this right to fair compensation and transparency. This is the main target as far as government is concerned. So they have given more importance, and that's why they have included act. This act provides consultation with institutions of local self-government and Gram Sabhas established under the Constitution of Human Participative. So that means public bodies' role is also important in this LARA Act 2013. So now, if you want to acquire any land, then the public participation is also very important nowadays. Earlier, what was happening? Anyone can, the government authorities were acquiring any type of land without taking their consent of this institution of local self government or gram sabhas. So now we will. This is the social impact assessment study. It is involved in the earlier act. There were no provisions. That means whenever an appropriate government intends to acquire land for public purpose, it shall consult the concerned panchayat, municipality, or corporation, as the case may be, at village level or ward level, unless and until they carry social impact assessment study. They cannot acquire the land nowadays. So, and they have fixed a certain time limit regarding this. So I will not go in detail regarding this special assessment studies, because we will give more importance to valuation. What is the relation with the valuation? But it sometimes, if you there might be some court matters, and judge might ask you. He asks many questions, and they test your knowledge. So whether you have thorough study or not. So that means at that time you should know at least these terms. It is expected that whether you have because the legal proceedings are carried out in the courts. So at that time you need evidence, or without evidence you cannot prove that why I have come to the conclusion and why I am in giving emphasis for this value. So you need to prove in the court. So that time they may observe whether the land acquisition proceedings carried by the government officer have fulfilled all these things then. So this is social impact study, assessment impact study. So what is the difference between the earlier since earlier act was Land Acquisition Act 1894 was prevailing. It was almost for more than 100 years. And then this RERA Act come into force. What is the difference between this? Social impact study assessment, there was no provision, but it is mandatory for every project except in emergency. So then second one, consent. No provision for consent. But when you are acquiring the land for the private public purpose, you need to take consent of 70% people of that in that area, the region, and 80% landowners consent to carry out the land acquisition proceedings. This is the very important provision. Earlier, what was happening? It was not necessary. They can acquire any land, any for the public purpose. So then compensation, regarding compensation, what was happening? Earlier, they were not, when the land acquisition proceedings started, then they were not eager to give their lands. But nowadays, what happened? System is reverse now. If your land is going in the land acquisition proceedings, then you will easily hand over the land. Why so? Because earlier they were given how much rate they were given as per the ready reckoner or the valuations carried by the concerned department. That was but now compensation in rural areas 4 times market value. That means the rate we will discuss this how we come to these rates. We will have discussion, and in urban areas twice. This is written here. In the conclude next slides, we will discuss this. Then this is also more important regarding because valuer have to carry out valuation proceedings not only in urban areas but also in rural valuations are there. So at that time he should know, he should have the knowledge what are the legal rules, what are the provisions in the Land Acquisition Act 2013. That means state cannot acquire irrigated multi crop land beyond a limit. There they have fixed certain limit, and if they acquire such lands, then yeah, there might be chances of the court matter there. Then urgency clause is there. Sometimes government need, but what was happening earlier? Government take any land needed for public purpose. In the urgency clause, urgency, that means within 48 hours they can acquire land. Earlier it was happening, and sometimes for the military projects or some urgent projects they were doing. But now there are certain provisions. Government can take land only for national security. These purposes are given. But I will not go in detail because we have to go for the valuation. The right to fair compensatory inspection is an act to ensure consultation with. We have already discussed this. So now come to the point. This is the valuers point now. What happens? There are so many differences in the valuations carried by the many court matters are there. Still, I think in Marathwada region, I was working as a land acquisition. At that time, there more than 75,000 cases were pending. I have reported, but what these matters are still going on, and for years and years. And what happens? There is a provision for the paying interest, and so the proper the land value of the land was only 1 lakh, and you are paying the interest 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs. So because matters are going on for more than 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, still matters are going on. So their government, they formed this one committee, and so I will not go in that detail in that committees regarding this. But what happens? There are so many type of, what is the role of this valuer then? Suppose this is a existing, this blacktop road. You see this is proposed. This is existing road. That blacktop road is the existing road, and government wants to extend this road. The road widening proceedings are going on there. So government may take adjacent side belts, and they may acquire the land. So what will happen then? It will certainly affect the rates. So now what is the private valuer's role? I will discuss in detail in the later slide also, but still I will just give the idea. So what happens if this is the acquisition, land acquired by the authorities, and suppose you this there is no interference from the government valuers here, because this property is for the sale, or and at that time valuer's role is very important. And one thing, you remember one thing, I have attended many court matters in this regard, this in the land acquisition proceedings, and many times only they ask regarding evidence. Unless and until you prove, judge will take your cross exam and will ask some questions. So you need to prove, being a private valuer, when government acquires this land, suppose this every from this, they are widening this road. This road is they are going to widening, and carried out the acquisition proceedings. At that time, suppose private valuer, they some person approach and requested him, sir, give me the valuation of this property. Sir, give me the valuation of the. At that time, you will need the sale incidence or the valuations carried by the. That means whatever the rate decided by the government authority, it is the pure evidence, and no one going to challenge your rate. Suppose they have fixed this rate 500 per square meter, and if you value around about 600 or something, considering the valuation date and everything, so that means you have the evidence. You cannot, many times what happened. So for the sake of benefit, I have carried out the inquiry also regarding this. I was one inquiry officer for some land acquisition proceedings also. So at that time, I have noticed that many people have intentionally did the mistakes. So it should not happen with our valuer, because now the rules are very strict. Being a valuer, it's you need to prove everything. Otherwise, they will. I will not go in detail. So this is because this highway, this is the national highway. It is going through some rural area, some urban area, and also the influence zone area. You people might not know about the influence. What is the influence zone area? Because it is mentioned in the ready reckoner rates. So why valuer's role is very important, because if you study properly. So valuer's role will be here, that if he wants to value this property, if the valuer present proposal with, then, and also second thing, Not only this, some partial land will be there, partial land will be remaining. So we will come to that. That means severance and that insurance affection. We will have the detail. I have details explanations about this. What will happen if the remain? What will whether the value will remain the same? The government is acquire only part of the land. Then that the time the value will not be remain same. Then we will discuss what will be the effect, and what will be how the private valuer will, then how he can help the concerned person regarding the, he can claim that this much was my value, this was and I can prove. So we will go to the next slide then. So government can acquire, so this is given here, you just read it, and then I will proceed. So I will go to the next slide in because I will, without wasting time, I will go to the next slide then. These are general provisions where these because we people must know where this act is applicable, and how the government valuer has fixed the valuations, and what are the problems there in the, because how the some government officers make mistake. I will explain in detail then. These are the preliminary investigation for determination of social impact. I will not go in this. These are the legal provisions. This publication of notification, this is also one of the important part regarding valuers, because why it is necessary. Government, whenever they want to acquire any land, then at that time, what they do, they have to publish the land, they have to publish this notification in the official gazette, then in the two daily newspapers circulating in the localities. It is important, huh? Because why it is important for valuer, I will tell you later. In the local language, second thing, in the local language, in the panchayat, municipality or municipal corporation, whatever it may be, uploaded on the website of appropriate government. Earlier it was not happening, but nowadays this facility is also available with the government officers. So that how they will carry out the land acquisition proceedings, that will be mentioned in this, and so this will decide the date of valuation. That's why this chapter is important. So the date of the valuation will be decided on this. So that means if there are any objections, or if there are any claim from the private party, then he need to approach to the private valuer, and at that time that valuer should note down the, because he needs the sale. What will be the valuation date? Unless and until that the person decide the valuation date. If you are valuating the property for the 2017, and you are collecting the sales for the 2018 and 19, is it worth? Of course no. So that means that valuation date is very, very important. So now it is mandatory for government, because they need to carry hearing of objections. Some at the when they publish the notification, but what is happening practically? Many people are not aware what to do. When they publish it publish in the newspaper, but many people ignore that. And then after finishing the period, then they said, sir, I was unknown, I was not aware about this. You have published in this wrong newspaper, and please allow me. So but as per law it will not be permitted then. That means if they are acquiring land, and so the the persons whose land is being in the proposed acquisition, he should be alert. And if he knows that there is huge difference between the land values, so that means he should take objection at that initially. If he takes the objection, so that that will be helpful for him in the further proceedings. Then, not only why this hearing of objection is carried on. Many times, what happens? There is a difference of area. Many times I have observed that. So the acquiring body collect the documents from you people. That means 712 extract, or then the land measurement authorities. So there might be some difference on the actual site. There be some, suppose as per record, says as per Satbara extract, it was showing 50,000, and as per possession it was 54,500 or 55,000. That means difference of almost around about 5,000 square meter. So that means this is also important, because if government officials make mistake, at that time that private valuer's role might come, because that person may get less compensation. Here, that means at the time of hearing, whatever things they, if you notice those things, then you should submit in the writing. So that will be helpful after publishing the award. These proceedings in the revenue department's language, it is called as land acquisition awards. So determination of mark, this is very important. And when you are appearing in the court as a private valuer, at that time you should know how the government office calculate the value of that property. I think you might know, but still I will explain with one example so that you will be able to understand how they carry the proceeding. This is just for explanation, but you should know. And if they make many mistake, then the private party may approach to the valuer, but it is not happening. But what happens? Many times we are the valuers, we are the land acquisition, we are the land and building valuations, and we can give the proper valuation report. But what is happening? I think one of my friend is attending this meeting, Mukund Bondre. He has sent me one valuation report submitted by the advocate with his sign to the court. So, but the land and building valuer is the only expert, and as per provisions, he can submit, but without but the registered valuers report is must there. And what is happened in that case, I don't know, but such things are happening. So that's why, suppose government valuer has fixed, because what are the main problems with the government authorities, I can explain. Very few people are working. There are so many departments are correlated regarding this valuation proceedings in the governments. That means registry department is different, town planning department is different, collector office, revenue department is different, then measurement department is different. That is the TLR department. That is a Taluka Inspector of Land Record department. That department is different. So many authorities. And what is happening? So it is not possible to provide all the data. If the sales data is wrong, what will happen? It will naturally affect the valuation of the property. And what happens? I have worked as a valuer, as a town planning officer. I have handled more than 2,000 value award cases, because collector and all revenue authorities are not the They are not supposed to carry the technical valuations. That's why they take the advice from the compliance department's valuers. So at that time, what had happened actually, because I was working and what note I have put in the that while giving the report, while giving the valuation report, we have to write that this much data was provided, and on that basis we have carried the valuation proceedings, and we have come to the conclusion, and we have fixed this much is the rate. Why I need to write this? Because in future, what will happen if they suppose from this conclusion I have there were sale instances available with the registrars and the collector revenue authorities. Sometimes some people have the tendency to do it intentionally, or sometimes it may be unknowingly they can do the mistake, because very few working staff is there in every department. So that's why what he do, then he submit whatever reward he get, he can submit. Suppose government authorities have fixed the rate 1,000 square meter,
1,000 square
and
meter.
but still many sale instances were available with higher rates. At that time, what will happen? The concerned party can approach to the registered valuer, and he can then collect the sales data from the sources, concerned sources. So that means you can, though the valuation proceedings are carried out by government officer, that are not final. You can approach to the court then. So at that time, you people must know how they have carried out the valuations by the government officers. So this is the explanation. You just read it, and then I will go to this one new. No, I have that. Yes, this is the how they carried out the proceeding, how they come to the conclusion regarding this rate. We will just, I will show it and I will try to explain in my own words then. But you just read this, and then I will go with the particular example, how they fix the rates. So I will go with the example then for the next. This is the example given. Read this. You can note down the data also, only the dates. So you can.
इसे रिकॉर्डिंग में लगा जाओ, रिकॉर्डिंग नहीं लगता है, लग जाएगी.
Government acquired 1,000 square meters. This is just for one. It is not the actual, but just for explanation, I have chosen this example. 1,000 square meter land in suburban area of a city in year 2017. Calculate the fair land rate for compensation. As per old act, new, what are the provisions? How they calculate? What was happening earlier? How we were fixing the values? I will explain in the as per the old act how we were fixing the value. Suppose you are valuing the property of the suburban area of the Andheri. So, or any rural area, suppose any purpose, that means for railway line or airport authorities, or they may they for the MIDC, they were submitting the proposal to the town planning department. What we people were doing at that time, what we were doing, and now what is the difference? I will explain the earlier proceedings. So before fixing the value, suppose I will go with one plan. I have one plan and I will come back again. Suppose this is the land under acquisition. At that time, what we people were doing, we were marking this. Suppose this is the land under acquisition. So we were collecting the sale instances and we were marking the sale instances for the last 3 years on this plan. That we called as sales plan. So that means on that sales plan we were marking the whatever the sales that have taken place.
मैं
We were marking
IBPI वैल्यूअर हूँ केंद्र शासन के, तो उसकी हमारी चलती रहती है हर बार और उसी के काम पे.
So to fix this value, what we were doing, so we were marking the sales. Suppose this property on this road, so that means similar type of sales we were choosing, and then at that time on that basis we were describing the every sales instance. So what are the past sales records? We were comparing these sales. That means suppose we do not get the sale for this type of road. So if we suppose we got the good very recent sale from this highway, but the value for this highway sale will not be the same for this. This is the interior land. So what we people were doing then we have to reduce the certain percentage based on our judgment and our experience. And if we get, suppose you are valuing this property for this residential or public semi-public zone, but most of the time what happens, you get sales from this green zone or this or some, because what happens, this is a development plan, and what is happening, because you will not get the sales of these residential properties, but you may get this green zone sales properties or highway properties. Sometimes they may sell for the some persons might be interested to carry their layouts there. So such land has huge demand. So we were comparing these rates. Every rate we have to compare. We have to choose certain sale instances, and on that basis we have to come to the conclusion, and we were fixing this value of that particular land. But what is happening in now, we will come to this example. But in there are for the, I think for the land acquisition proceedings in the rural area, they think that it is not necessary to carry these valuations by the valuers. But in I will certainly suggest that in the urban area you cannot carry these proceedings. So this is the example given here. They have collected 10 sales here, and what they did, this sale was in March 15th. You need to collect last 3 years sales to come to the conclusion for the land acquisition rate. So this is this, but you need to consider similar types of top 50% sales. You need to consider top 50% sales and simply average them and get the rate. This is very simple technique. You need not have the technical mind here. See, this is the rate. This is the sales data available with this, and what he has done. Now these 10 sales have to be arranged in order of their rates irrespective of year. What they did, these are the random sales data. This in the first sale instance, the rate was 2,200 per square meter. In the second sale instance, it was 2,500 per square meter. So like this, but what they did, they have chosen top 5 sales out of 10. That means not every time, not 10. there might be, suppose there are 200 cells available, then you need to consider 100 cells. But one thing, remember what is written here. Read this second line. So you will be, I will try to explain in why is it necessary that if suppose there are 50 cells, that means it is mandatory to select all the 25 cells. No is the answer. Why so? I will try to explain, because this is the said, what is said here, the average sale price for similar type of land. This word is very important as far as valuer is concerned. And judge may ask you what had happened in the past. I will not take the particular example, but it has happened, and many times I have to discuss with the divisional commissioners and collectors regarding these similar types of properties. Many type, what happened, actually I will go with the plan again and will try to explain. Suppose this was the land under acquisition, and what happened, there were some sale instances of the Guntevari, and suppose this is the land, they are acquiring the land for this and the suppose land proposal is for the 2 acres or 3 acres something. And there were some sale instances found that Guntevari, why? Suppose some person has carried out the Guntevari proceedings for 1 hour, 2 hour. So it will, is this type of sales are similar? No. Then that means you need to discard such types of sales. Otherwise, what will happen? How much government has to pay the compensation? It will certainly affect the valuation. So that means, that's why this word is very important as far as valuer is concerned. If similar types of sale are not used by the government valuers, then that time, if the party approach to the private valuer, then that time you can prove in the court that, sir, this is the wrong things made by this officer. They have come to the wrong conclusion. This is the correct decision, and I am quite confident that these are the sales incidents available with me, and so fix this much is rate. So many times what happens, suppose in this example, they have provided 10 cells. So suppose now what they did, they have chosen these 10 cells, simply average this. They have, see, this cell rupees 3,111. This is second cell 3,666. So simply averaged, and they come to this rate. Someone is.
So average 15,000 आएगा.
Sir, what will you do? I will continue first, and so we will. That means divided by 3, divided by 5. You need to divide it by how much for what this value for 5 cells. Then divided by 5.
No sir. 1 minute. 3.
This will be the rate.
3,111
divided by 5.
366 plus 3028 plus 2909 plus 2900 divided by 5, sir.
Yes.
Is 3,000.
Yes, this is the rate I have fixed. Now on the next line you will see,
okay,
divided by 5.
Okay.
So
okay.
This much was the rate.
Okay.
So how much compensation they awarded? This much was the compensation awarded. So how the valuer's role will be here now? Why valuers? What had happened in the past? I have experienced this. That's why I am telling you this. Suppose you are carrying this valuation for the national highway, suppose for the in the suburban area or the rural area or anything. But if from where you get the sales, you get this sales data from the sub-register office, that is registration department. This is the authority, they provide the data. And what happened? Suppose the higher sales were available there. Suppose more than 5,000 square meter rates were, some sales were carried out by 4,000, 5,000, but they have not provided the such data. But what will happen? The revenue department will fix this rate. How much rate we have fixed here? This much rate they have concluded. But sales instances were available for that period. That means for that last period, before the preceding of that, the date of valuation, so many sales were available, but they have not provided due to this. But what is the problem with these government departments nowadays? There are very few staff are available, and it is not possible for him to. So many land acquisition cases are there, and he will try to give as whatever. That means he is not doing intentionally, but it is not possible for considering the time limit, and they have fixed the time limits for this such type of awards. So but if the party knows that these are the not the rates, prevailing rates, and there are, I can have the higher rates, I can get higher valuation. But there are, but how he can get that? Then he should have to, he should claim to the collector office, and then later on, he is not the private person is not the expert regarding this. Then at that time, the private, he can approach the private valuer, and many court cases, we have handled many court cases. And but what was happening? But not a single, most of the valuer do not come forward. So the advocates were playing the role of the valuer at that time. I have experienced this, practically I have experienced this. So now if you can prove that you are the valuer and you have enough data available, otherwise you can go to the register office or from any other sources, you can collect the data and you can increase this rate. You can prove in the court. There are certain provisions. So that means that he can get not only this much, because this is the basic rate. In the urban, what are the provisions in the RERA Act? This is the basic rate fixed by the valuer, but they will get more compensation. In the urban areas, they will get double compensation. If the property is from the rural area, they will get the 4 times compensation. Not only that, that solatium part is there. Earlier, it was 30% in the earlier Act, 1894 Act. As per the 1894 Act, it was only 30%. But nowadays, they are giving 100%. That means how much increase will be value? How the, but government valuer has nothing to do. He has the whatever data provided by the register department. That's why whenever I was giving the valuation reports, I used to write in the letter that this was the data provided by this office, and on that basis we have come to the conclusion. And so that's why, because later on so many court matters are come, and that at that time what we people, if we do not have that line, has saved me many times. I have experienced this many times. I have worked as a valuer, town planning valuer also, and same time I have charged with the other office that is a land acquisition officer. Then what to do then? This was ambiguous situation for me also to take the decisions, because whatever data provided by the register office, and later on what had happened there, we got the evidence, and they have proved that this was data not provided by the register office or the revenue authorities. So that means, so there the valuer's role is very important. I'm trying to explain in my own, with my practical experience, what are the things had happened in the past. And so many things are there, but due to the time restriction, I cannot explain anything. more things here, but I will try to arrange another lecture for this, because there are certain provisions. Because if you are valuing a property with the rural areas, and if you are carrying the valuations for the urban areas, there are certain rules and regulations fixed by the every state government has their own rules and regulations. So there is a lot of difference, but today I am just giving more emphasis to this rural valuations. So come to the further now, this multiplying factor. Why this multiplying factor is important? What is this multiplying factor? So what is the multiplying factor? Can anyone tell me? Just I will disturb you people. What is this multiplying factor? Can anyone tell me? In this RERA Act only this multiplying factor is influenced. In the earlier act, there were no provisions for this multiplying factor. Because many people are not familiar with these development plans, regional plans, then metropolitan plans, and it does affect the value. Valuer should know how it will affect. If it is property from the development plan, then they have provided that 2 times, and for the rural areas, that part comes under regional plan area. If possible, I will try to show you what is the difference between development plan, regional plans, because many people might be from the out of Maharashtra. The Maharashtra is the only state which has the every inch land comes under the planning. There is difference. What is the difference between development plan and regional plan? But for other states, they are still preparing these regional plans. You people might know the development plans, but what is the regional plans? I will later on try to show, but if possible, I will try to show. That means this multiplying factor is very important. If the land acquisition is from the urban area, then you need to multiply it by 2. And if the land is from the rural area, then they will multiply that by 4. And in addition to that, they are getting solicium, that 100% solicium also. So why earlier, as per 1894 Act, the compensation was very less. That's why people do not now. If your land is going in the road, then you will become Karodpati nowadays. Simply Karodpati. Suppose what was happening earlier, I have given the reports in 2012 for the land. I have given the report suppose for 5 lakhs per acre. But in the since 2013, after 2013, he is getting 1 crore rupees for that property. How much difference was there? So people are now eager to give. They are handing over the land to the land acquisition officer. The persons whose land comes under the land acquisition nowadays, he is a lucky fellow now. He will definitely become Karodapati. If you have land of the 1 acre or something, and if your land is going in the national highway or state highway or any other major roads, then you will be lucky, because you are getting 4 times in the open market. If you try to sell that property, you will not get the value. If you simply you will suppose the actual valuation rate is rupees 15 lakhs per acre, and if your land has been acquired by the government, if government is supposed to acquire that land, at that time you will get minimum 4 times, and in addition to that solicium, that means at least 5 times. How it is possible that in the private market you will not be able to sell that property for 15 lakhs? At least you will get maximum 15 to 20 lakhs, but you are getting around about 1 crore rupees there. And so many, because in smart cities, What is happening in the national highways, Goa Mumbai highway or any Delhi Mumbai highways, the national highways, anywhere. And second thing, I do not have that much time today, but still I will try to, if possible, then try to explain regarding how the rate difference is there. How the land acquisition rate differs when you are acquiring the property in the rural area, then development plan area, and then one thing, influence area is there. In Maharashtra particularly, I know, but I don't know about the other state. But influence area there, and in that influence area, that means land is supposed to be acquire. There is a potential for the NA for such land. So that means the square meter rates are given there. For the rural areas, hectare rates are available, but due to the square meter rates, how the property will have, the square meter valuation was only 5 lakhs per acre. But when you carry the valuation by these square meter rates, you will get at least 25 lakhs per acre and more than that. And on that to multiply by these factors, this will affect the total valuation of the property. So this is one of the development plan from I have. So when you acquire the property, suppose you are acquiring the property for this in the urban region, then what will be the multiplying factor? And suppose you go, this is the municipal limit. The municipal limits ends here. And suppose you are acquiring the land here, and then it will certainly affect the rates. That means these people will get the 4 times multiplying factor. But the property rates are different. See the difference. In urban area, there will be high rates as compared with these rural area, rural rates. So these regional plans are very important because nowadays they have what I think every time government make modifications. When I was working there, the multiplying factor for the new towns that comes under regional plan, they were using 1.5 as a multiplying factor. But for the pure rural area, they were using 4 times multiplying, 4 as a multiplying factor, and for urban 2 times. So, but what happens with these partial lands? Suppose this is the survey number and government is acquiring in the ready reckoners. What happens? They have provided, suppose this is the survey number 56 and only road has divided, and this is the green zone, that is agricultural zone. Because there is huge difference between these residential rates and these agricultural rates. So what, suppose you are acquiring such property that this property is divided. Some part is residential, some part is green zone, or some, suppose. But what happened? In the market rate, in the ready reckoners, they have provided only one value. When the partial survey numbers were given, they have given for the stamp duty. What is the purpose of the ready reckoner? The purpose of the ready reckoner is to collect stamp duty only. But these rates are required to be considered by the, because how we consider this value? We will come to this slide again. So before determination of market value, how they will decide this is the provision, these are the provisions to decide the value. The market value, if any, specified the Indian Stamp Act 1890. That means this is the guideline rate, ready reckoner rate. Then second part we have already discussed with examples, that is similar type of land situated in the near or nearest vicinity of that area. This, suppose this is the ready reckoner shows 2000, and on the sales data he come to the conclusion of 2200. And third provision is also there. They may sometimes considering the time slot and these long proceedings, there are certain provisions made that consented amount. That means you can give the consent, and I have no problem. You can acquire this much rate. I will accept this much rate. So these are the out of this, the higher will be the rate fixed by the authorities. So this is the very important provision as far as you people must know how these rates are fixed by government while acquiring the property. That means guideline rate, that is ready reckoner rate, then average sale price, and the third one, consented amount. Whichever is higher, see, whichever is higher, what is important? That will be the land acquisition cost. And on that basis, and suppose if you have some evidence, then at that time private valuer can enhance that valuation, right? Now we will go to the next, how it will. These are parameters considered. I will not go in detail because this is called as award. You remember, many people might not know these land acquisition proceedings. In the revenue department, it is called as award. So how you just read it, then I will go to the next slide then. Determination of value things attached to the land. Not only, but some, suppose there are some crops or some buildings are there, and if they are acquiring, that means they have to consider these things also. But valuations for these trees and plants, and we people are not the authority, because the valuers from the agricultural departments, those people are the experts regarding this. How much trees are there, whether the fruits, these trees are plants, or is there any fruit trees are there, or is there any well there, or is the land irrigated? So that these things will be, these valuations will be carried out by agricultural valuers. So award of solution, read this, that only just read this, I will go ahead then. Solution, that means your unwillingness, will, you are not giving that. They were compulsory acquiring the land. That's why they think that you are losing something. Your property might have more value, and so considering this loss, they are giving this. This is called as solicium. And nowadays, earlier it was, I have already told. Earlier it was only 30%. Now they are giving 100%. How the value will be affected? If I will say, if the government is acquiring the land, I will immediately I will say, sir, take my land. So that's the main difference nowadays. Corrections to the awards, that means the area corrections. I have already told how to carry out the corrections there, because the area difference is major. Main thing happens with the area. And in the urban valuations, every square meter, now the sky is the limit for the rates, urban land rates. In the metro cities, what is happening? Every square meter is important. And being a valuer, you should note all these things. So awards collector when to be final. These are the legal proceedings. I will not go in detail. You just read this. Then I will go for the next slide then. Now come to the main point. You read this and then I will try to explain. These are very important for the valuers. You should know what is means by severance and then what is meant by injurious affection. There is a difference, lot of difference between these words, severance and injurious affection. These two words, I think you people might have read or not, I don't know, but this I will try to explain in my own words then. So see, this is what is a severance in land acquisition. Read this and I will explain in the figures then. Severance means to cut. What happens? Severance takes place when only part of the property, may it be an agricultural land or built up urban property, is acquired and the remaining part of the same property is left out of acquisition and left with the owner. That is called severance. Property cut in two parts. Suppose I will go with this so that people will. Suppose they are acquiring this. The owner of this survey number was the same. And what happened? They have acquired this type, some part of the land. They have acquired this much bigger portion, and they are not acquiring this smaller portion. So that means the land has been divided. This survey number has been divided. At that time, the severance will go ahead. So property cut in two parts. In such cases, the part of a property left with the owner is required to be protected by constructing. I will come to the figure now so that you will be able to understand what is. Suppose this was the building, this was a G+2 floors were there, and the land acquisition proceedings have been started, and they are acquiring the land for because they need it, and the compound wall was there, and some part of the building was also affected in the acquisition. Then what to do? So these things will be required, and being a valuer, you should have keen observation about these points. How the government valuers are doing valuations, and how the claimant who appear with the you people and ask, sir, being a valuer, you guide me and help me because they are giving very less compensation to me. So at that time, valuers role comes. So see, this is the figure. You observe this figure. You go through this figure only. Then we will go to this figure then. Okay. So figure A. This was the property. This was the road, 30-meter wide DP road. They were acquiring the property, and at that time, so what happened? This portion under acquisition. So that means they what is we have already discussed this. Severance occurs when the land becomes separated due to acquisition of the part land, right? So this same thing happens here. So now he needs to, earlier his compound wall was here. So that means he has to make the compound wall also, and some part of the building, some part of the walls also, they are being acquired by the government. So at that time, what is the loss suffered by him? That means fencing and compound wall with or without gates, it is get affected. Then along the boundary or boundaries of the part left with the owner, and a building wall for the part of the building left with the owner. So this will be the effect of the severance then. So now we will come to this injurious affection. What is this injurious? You read this so that you will be able to understand what is meant by injurious affection. Some difference is there. These two words have different meaning. Severance, injurious affection is the part of the severance. But what is the difference between this severance and injurious affection? This is the example for this injurious affection. What is happening here? You observe this figure, you will come to know what is happening here. How much land is they are acquiring? The person, he is the owner of this 2000 square meter land. But what did government authorities they are doing? They need only 1600 square meter land. So they, for this 60-meter wide National Highway 44, they were acquiring only 16 meter, and the owner's land left. How much land he has left? Only 400 square meter land was left with him. So read this so that I will be clear. I can be clear. Injurious affection means what? When it happens that only part of the land is acquired and the remaining land is left with the owner. And consequence, what will be the consequence? Consequence will be that value of the remaining land will be reduced. Will the value for this land and this land will be same? Certainly not. This value will get reduced because it is unbuildable. What he will do with this 400 square meter? Nothing can be done. So that means the value gets reduced. That means injurious affection comes. That means the value gets reduced in this case. Value of the remaining land will be reduced. So this is also called, what is this called also? This is called before and after method of valuation. You know, being a valuer, you should know what is before and what is after valuation method. Because many people might not know that what is this method is. So I have chosen one example also, but we will try to. I will go with this example. I think you have read this. You read this conclusion so that you will find the difference. What is the difference between severance and what is the difference between the value get reduced, and in this they have to provide the compensation for this compound wall and everything. They have to estimate, engineering estimate, and they will give the compensation only. But in this value get reduced. This is the difference between severance and injurious affection. So read this conclusion so that you will be able to.
Sir, I have a question.
I will later on we will take questions. Okay, you note down this so that I will answer them. So now before and after method of valuation, this is also very important. Why? Property will certainly affect due to this injurious affection, right? Value will get naturally. It's the natural thing. Value will get reduced. And that's the difference between the before and after valuation. What is the what is included? You read this. and they have to give the compensation because it is unbuildable. And though it is not written in the award, government will pay the compensation for this. Then we will come to this example. This numerical will it will be more clear then. After you read this example, note down the data so that this 2000 square meter land was the owner has this much 2000 square meter land in this survey number 74. Acquiring agency has acquired only 1600 square meter. That means 400 square meter land left with the without acquisition. That is injurious affection here. So that means the land value for this 400 square meter will get reduced. This is called injurious affection. The prevailing rate for the acquired portion was rupees 5,000 per square meter on the date of valuation, and for the reduce, how much reduction was there for the rate? Huge difference will be there. No one likes to buy such properties, and naturally he will suffer the loss. So government has considered this point. So that was they have made some certain provisions in the act. So this was the reduced rate, 2,000 per square meter for this. Come to this slide. So that 1600 square meter. Initially, for the whole 2000 square meter land, the prevailing rate was 5,000 per square meter. But later on, whatever, before and after method, this is before and after method of valuation. When you will represent in the court on behalf of some parties, at that time you should know. So this is the total role of the private valuer, because he will fight on behalf of the concerned person who suffered the loss. So if the government authority do not carry the proper valuations, at that time valuer should carry out the proper, he should choose, he should collect the proper data and then carry on the valuation proceedings. With this, I can prove that this was loss suffered by my client. So I can prove that this much should be the compensation. So that means valuer should know what is difference between before and after valuation method. So we will come to this example. This is the example now. You will, I think I will not need not explain this, because you will get the answer yourself here. You read this and try to understand. Value before acquisition, value after acquisition. This is the value before and after method. You should know the valuation method, because we people know income approach, market approach, and cost approach. But certain these things will be required in the income tax department also. Then I think more of when you will handle the trust properties, at that time also you will need, because these are some the evidence also will be needed in some cases. So I will explain value before acquisition. What was the rate before acquisition? 5,000 per square meter. How much was the land area? 2,000 per square meter. So that much, this much was the value before acquisition. So value after acquisition. So how much was the reduction there? The rate was reduced to 2,000 for this 400 square meter, because they have acquired 1,600 square meter land. So that means total compensation payable only this difference, they have deducted this difference. And the compensation for the acquired land, then how much? 1,600 into 5,000, because they are not acquiring this 400 square meter land. So compensation for damages. If this So compensation for damages due to injurious affection of the land. That means this will be the rupees 12 lakhs. Will be the,
Hello, sir.
that means,
Hello.
hello, huh?
Party will provide 12 lakh also for compensation,
Government is acquiring land, na?
but landowner is a previous
He
one.
is the owner. He is the owner of 2000 square meter land.
Acha.
See,
Sir, government will provide that much money, sir.
this is the initially this person, Mr. Raju, owned the land of this is written here.
Yeah.
Anil, he owned 2000 square meter. But what happened? Government has acquired only 1600 square meter. But initially,
remaining
before
400 square meter land owner is now a Anil Bhai.
yes, because
But compensation is provided by government for injuries land 400 square meter.
yes.
Okay.
Yes. That means what? Because you unnecessary, you are suffering the loss. What is this property buildable? This is a national highway. This land carries huge value, and
But owner
unnecessary.
remaining same Anil Bhai.
Yes. Owner should, because
Ownership is continue.
yeah, yes. Ownership will be continued.
But only damage compensation is provided to Anil.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So this now we will come to the plus minus factor.
Whether that land will remain with owner only.
So I cannot answer about this because I don't have the knowledge about this. I will be frank. I will discuss with the land acquisition officers, and then we'll tell them later on.
Sir, obviously the balance land will remain with the owner and he will sell it at the discounted rate and he will get the compensation. It is as simple, sir.
That's the main thing. That's why I have told you that I cannot answer regarding this.
As he got some compensation, whether
But,
his rights will remain there.
But that is confusing part for me also. I will discuss with the authorities.
Please, sir. Please
Because
clarify on that.
no problem. Because this situation, I do not handle such problems.
If
But
something
what
is
will-
paid for that,
But
there should not be
compensation
any right.
Just compensation, they will pay the compensation. Yes. But who will be the owner? And what happens with the ownership, that I don't know. I will discuss with the revenue authorities then. Then these
Okay,
are
sir.
some plus factors and minus factor. How the land value will be affected. These factors need to be considered by valuers, because there is huge difference when you are carrying the valuations for the particular property. I had one plan with me. So this is the development plan of the one of the cities. So how it affects the difference? You just land size. If you are acquiring the 10 acre land or 20 acre land, and if you are comparing the 4 acres and 5 acre land, it will certainly affect. So these points must be remembered by the valuer. That means land size, whether it is smaller, or what is the minus factor here? Larger factor. If the land is having area, will the value will be same for the if suppose you are acquiring the land for 2000 square meter and you are comparing the sale with 4 acres, it is not comparable. The 4 acre land value will certainly get reduced, but 20 acre will get more value. That means land size matters. Then proximity to road. Yes, I think it is not necessary to explain. Everyone knows. So these points must be covered by the valuer while writing his reports. That means road frontage. How much you are getting the road frontage? Suppose suppose this is the property. Now see, this property has very less frontage. And compared to this property, this come to this survey number, this has large frontage. So certainly these properties are not far away from each other, but there is huge difference regarding the valuation, how the valuer should think. That is given here. So that means road frontage matters in urban areas or whether it is rural areas. Road frontage also is the most considerable point. So narrow strip, very small strips might be there. So, but if the property must be buildable or it should have some utility. So these factors are also carry more importance. Road frontage, narrow strips, then nearness to development. How is the development going on? What is happening nowadays? What is happening in the metro cities? What is happening? Most people like to live in the outskirts. Why it is happening? Because transportation and many other problems are there. If you stuck in the traffic for hours, if you are living in the heart of the city, and if you are every day you are going to your job, and if you stuck in the traffic for more than 1 hour, it is happening in Mumbai, Pune, or Bangalore, or Chennai. You go to any metro city. So that means nowadays people, though develop, before going to before coming to the conclusion, sometimes it may reduce the value or sometimes rise there is huge rise in the value. It depends from person to person how he thinks. Some values may, because every property valuer will have some different thinking. No, because what happens, someone has with the same point, someone think positively and someone think negatively. So that also matters. Then shape, we have already seen how the shape matters. Regular shape or irregular shape. Regular shape will get naturally, it will have, the value will enhance naturally. And irregular shape, if it is not buildable, then what? It will certainly affect the value of that property. Now we have already discussed these points, but valuer should know how the government officer has calculated that value, and he can, if he do not collect the proper sales data, then the property will affect. And in urban areas, most of the times when I have carried out the valuations for the municipal corporations, at that time we were not getting the sales. So how to conclude the value? Because what is said here, average sale price for similar types of land situated, that means 50% sales you will consider. But if you are not getting such data, at that time what you will do? That is the big question. And that means you need to apply your judgment and your experience and try to get some, because how will you come to that value for the land then? There are some certain methods, in the market approach. What you do? The development method is available with you people. That means you are indirectly calculating the land rate there. In the land development method, you can, that means the built up properties are there. That suppose some apartment scheme might be there. And second thing, suppose one builder wants to develop one property. And what he will do? He will approach to that party and request him that we will carry out this development by development agreements, or that means JVR procedure will be there. So that time, what will be the suppose that building is 75 years old, so that means that building has almost zero value. So we have collected such cells at that time. When I was doing valuation for the heart of the city, one of the property of the heart of the city in the Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar area. So at that time, I was experiencing this problem, and what I did, I have collected some built-up property sale and come to the conclusion. And also second thing, I have carried out some local inquiry, and what is the prevailing rate going on there. So on that basis, I have to come to the conclusion, but it is not possible here. So that's why I have said that it is not every time you will not get this sale data. In urban area, it is not possible. In Mumbai, Chennai, Bangalore, Delhi, how you will get this type of sale data? But there are so many acquisitions. Municipality carry out so many acquisitions. So at that time, you need your judgment. And if the government valuer make mistake, at that time, private valuers will be there. So come to the conclusion. Many times you now in the upcoming days, there will be so many court matters regarding this valuation because so many land acquisition proceedings are going on, and if the provided data, that means sales instances and everything. So if you get such because in the urban area, every square feet land has some huge value. So many metro projects are running nowadays in every part of the metro cities and also in the rural areas also. So first thing, what valuer should do? I just sometimes it is directly related and somewhere it is indirectly related. Where you can use this valuation award. That is first point I will explain. Collection of sales data from the final awards. That is valuers data bank. What valuers must, he should preserve some data. And nowadays what is happening? They are acquiring so many properties from along the national highways, then in the urban areas. So, but what happens? You need to collect such data because there are so many sales, the government department will provide so many sales. For every acquisition, they will provide 100 sales or 200 sales or 50 sales, more than that. So that means if you collect some data, such data, and at that time, suppose you want to value this property, and this was the land acquired by the government, you will get the evidence. And not only from this acquisition, but while doing these valuations, while carrying these valuations, these government valuers, what they will do, they will take the entire data, entire sale data from this area, this much area. So that data should be preserved by the private valuer. And if you come across, suppose you are handling this properties valuation, at that time you can easily use the data. So that is called valuers bank. So, and second thing, suppose this land was acquired by the government, and if you have in the award case, you have the certain sales data available with you. You can collect this data and you can collect your own data from that particular office. And on that basis, you can say this was the unknowing mistake made by the officers, and I want to correct it, and you will get higher rate. You can prove that is the role of the valuer. And so many court cases are going on. So many registered valuers might be working in the courts nowadays. So you people must know how to collect that data, because if government is acquiring, suppose this is the equation. So that means you will get large number of sales data available with you, and so you must get such data from the concerned office.
Is it available online, sir?
In Maharashtra particularly, Inspector General of Registration, they have provided online data. So suppose you are valuing for this property, so adjacent sale you can put some suppose this is survey number 75, and you want to carry out the valuation for this 75. That means you can easily, if you have this, not only this, you will get this type of plans also there. So that means you can easily identify which survey numbers. Sometimes what happens, adjacent to this 75, one survey number 102 might be there. So that means you need that particular. So in that vicinity, how the sales have been registered. So if you, in the Inspector General of Registration's website in Maharashtra, I don't know about the other state, but I was working in that department for many years, so I know it. I have worked with this Inspector General of Registration Department. I have prepared the ready record for 8 districts. That's why I am saying this data, I had available all the data with me. But for private failure, you need to go on that website and you can observe how much, how many sales have been recorded. So you can get it.
What kind
But
of document is registered for for land acquisition?
we will go to the questions now. We'll finish I will conclude this, and then we will discuss, because these things are required for the values. So I will, second part,
Hello.
handling of the cases of injustice. That is, cases of injustice we have already discussed. That means claim higher compensation, he is eligible for the higher compensation. Then capital gain cases. Many times you see, if this is the limit, then income tax department serve the notices to the owners up to, I think I might be wrong, but up to 5 kilometers or 7 kilometers, there is certain range there. They have given certain range. At that time, so many valuers came with me regarding these rates of the adjacent to the municipal areas, and this is the provision given in the Income Tax Act. So that time only private valuer can do the valuations. There is no, only what data we have provided. Suppose the Income Tax Department was asking how far is that this property from the municipal limit, and we people were giving answer that this is 2 kilometers away, 3 kilometers away, 5 kilometers away, 10 kilometers away. So that time also you can use this and the data, then analyze data and use according to the purpose of valuation. There might be some different purpose. So many purposes are there, whether it is from rural area, urban area, or whether it is for greenland, whether it is for the. So this will also you will need. Then evidence in the court. This is the most important point. When you will be working in the valuation with the court, that time you. Then TDR valuations. Anyone from Mumbai or Thane, Pune? Anyone from Mumbai?
Yes, I am from Pune.
Yes, you know what is happening nowadays. This TDR carries huge value. So TDR valuations, what is meant by TDR? Because I think I have decided that I will give one lecture on this TDR, because most of the people might do not know about the TDR, transfer of development rights. What is this transfer of development rights? I will give one lecture on this TDR valuations. It will certainly affect. So these TDR valuations, these are correlated with the land acquisition only. What in one sentence I will explain. if the municipality, suppose I will go with this plan. Suppose municipality is this is the reserve land, the reservation for the primary school and playground or some shopping center might be there or garden. And so suppose the person approached to the municipal authorities and he said, sir, acquire my land. Because the reservations will be for the 20 years. After the sanction of the plans, this reservation will remain force for the 20 years. So this person, because government is not the municipality is not developing, nothing, they are doing nothing, and but this person approached to the municipal authority and he has served the notice that, sir, acquire my land. But what happened? Municipality has no funds. So what they will do, they will provide TDR, that means transfer of development right certificate, and this person, if this person get this certificate, then he can utilize this FSI with other properties. There are some different rules. I will not go in detail today because considering the time consequence, it is not possible. But I will have one separate lecture on this TDR. If you people are interested, then only I will do, because I have carried out one inquiry regarding this TDR also. So I know how these people have cheated and how the builder, it will certainly affect the valuation. You people must know what is the TDR and how it will affect. So I will explain in the later. I will later go with the. Then severance we have already discussed. Injurious affection we have already discussed. Partial zoning. What is meant by partial zoning? Now you people can, we will go. What is meant by partial zoning in development plan and regional plan? Can anyone explain? I will go with the plan again so that you people will come to know. So this is the survey number. Suppose this is one entire survey number, and this is the residential zone. That means you can sanction layout here, and this is the green zone. So that means this is the partially. So in the development plan proposals, you can sanction layout here, but you cannot sanction. This is the pure agricultural zone. You cannot sanction layout here. So there is huge difference between this value and this value. So this is, so such type of proposals, because some compensation or some valuation proceedings, if you are carrying for the bank proposal or financial proposals regarding these layouts, so at that time you will need this, because this survey number is entire survey number. This is, suppose this is survey number 78, but partially it is in residential zone and partly it is in green zone, but there is huge difference between the land values. So at that time, that partial zoning and some regional plan, I think most of the people might not be familiar with this regional plan. I will explain in the later lectures then. So I think we will have some questions now, so that we will, I have, thank you all the best for your future. You are most experienced people working in this valuation field, and I have tried my best way, and in the practical manner I have tried to explain it, because I have experienced these proposals. I have handled these proposals. I have handled more than 5,000 valuation cases, and I have handled all types of valuation cases, because what happened in certain departments, they take valuation report from the government authorities only, and I was working with the registry department for more than 10 years. So at that time I have to handle that MIDC cases, SIDCO cases, MADA cases, then income tax department cases, then sales tax department cases. So all types of, and in addition to that, we were the authority to consulting authority to the collectors. So at that time, I have handled more than 5,000 cases. So I will share my mobile number also with you people, so that I can share my knowledge. I cannot say that I am the expert valuer, but still you people, because my how experience is that most of the people do not have the knowledge about the development plans, regional plans, TDR, capital gains. So you being an expert valuer, you in the court cases, I have attended many court matters regarding these land valuations, because people serve the notice under section 127, that is purchase notice. That means and in the municipal acquisitions at that time, certain provisions are there, and in addition to that, some valuations in the urban region, there is difference between the certain provisions are there, but it was not possible for me to explain in this 1.5 hour or 2 hours. So we will have some different lecture on that urban, what will be the effect of this TDR, and then what will be the effect, how we will carry out the valuation award cases, how will you handle these award cases, and how we will value the urban properties. So we will try to discuss on these things. So now, thanks everyone for the, thank you and all the best, and we will have some discussions now.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I'm calling from Pondicherry, sir. Actually, here one proposal was there for the past 10 years that airport expansion, sir. In that case, it is government record for about 200, 300 acres of land. What the farmers has done, they have increased the GLR value. Initially, it was 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs per hectare. Now, people has done 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs case. That case, government will how they will adapt, whether they will consider GLR rate or they will take a local prevailing market rate, sir.
Yes, it's a very important question, and because what is happening nowadays, they, as per Lara Act, they have what is written here. You read this second one.
The average sale price for similar type of land situated in the nearest village or nearest vicinity area, sir.
That means 50% sale. Out of that 50% sale, they need to consider for the past 3 years, and on that basis, they will carry out if the sales instances will be available there, then they will have to consider it.
That means what is recorded in the document, sir? You mean what is the value recorded in the document that you will consider, sir?
Yeah, because the government, you need to, the government authorities will provide the documents, sales documents. That means that sub-register office, that the registration office will provide the last 3 years documents. Whatever the sales have taken place in that area, in the vicinity of that area, they will provide all the last 3 years documents from the each, and then from these last 3 years sales data, you have to choose the 50% sales. The higher 50% sale will be selected. We have calculated this. See this. Here 10 sales were available. 2015 valuation date was 2017. So they have collected the data for the 2015, then 2016, then 2017. And out of these 10 sales, they have chosen higher 50% sales. And they have taken the average of these 5 sales. And on that basis, they can come to the conclusion for this rupees 3,000 rate. So that means if the government authority will collect the sales that are due, but what is happening, that practically what is happening, if they have not provided the proper data, then what will happen? Suppose 5,000 rupees, 5,000 square meter or 6,000 square meter sales were there, but the authorities have not provided, that it will certainly affect the value, because they are selecting the higher sales, similar types of sales. Sales were available, data was available, but in that case, if the party think that this is the lower valuation as compared by the valuation fixed by the government authorities, then at that time you can the people can approach to the court.
Sir, one more doubt, sir. Actually, previously they have registered like 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, something like that, sir. Due to some fund problem, the government has not yet initiated the project. In the meantime, what happened? That nearby surrounding area and all, it has gone more than 1 crore, 2 crore like that per acre. So, is it possible to claim that the current rate, sir?
What is written in this act, Lara Act, you need to consider the last 3 years sales. That is the main thing. And average this. You cannot go out of, because what they people will do, they will approach to the court. Sir, we have the evidence, and still the government authorities are not considering this. Why you are not considering? If it is written in the law, then you have to accept it. But what happens in I have worked in the registry department also, and in collector office also. I have explained that government, when government proceedings will be there, at that time what happens? They stop the sales in that area. They stop the registry. It happens in the MIDC area or some Sidco fringe area in the Aurangabad city, Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar city. They have stopped. Collector has given the order. Do not register the sales in this area. We are going to acquire. What was happening? The same thing happened in the Samruddhi Highway. What happened? The people, the authorities who know. I will not go. I cannot go because some restrictions with me. So, but now one more thing there. I will come. I hope I will go with this figure.
Sir, is this act is applicable all over India or specifically in Maharashtra?
No, it is applicable all over India, but certain provisions are there, and they can choose the multiplying factor. Regarding the multiplying factor, the state government take their, because in Maharashtra particularly, entire region is planned, but for other states, only some part of the development plan is prevailing and no regional plans are there. So that means free zoning is there in the other states, but in particularly Maharashtra, there are certain provisions regarding this. So the state can decide the multiplying factor.
In Sindhudurga also there is a free zone, no, sir? In Sindhudurga, Raigad, it is also free zone.
No free zone. No, who is from Sindhudurga? No, it's not correct. Because regional plans are available, tourism plans are available with Maharashtra. I know it. Many of my friends are working there. I know it. Town planners are there. You visit that office and you get the plans. You will get the regional plan, development plans. I will have one separate lecture on this regional plan, development plan, and these urban land TDRs. These things I think you people must learn. While carrying out these valuations, it will certainly affect the land value. One more thing. See, this is the land. What is happening here? I will explain. I will. I think it's almost. This well is also acquired. This land was Ziraat land. Earlier it was partially irrigated land. That means whenever you want to carry the valuations, you are doing the valuation 1.5 times. Due to this, and government has acquired this well. So whether the land value will be this remain same, that as for the irrigated land.
No.
No, that's the correct answer. But people should know regarding these valuations. So any other questions then?
Sir,
So what kind of document is registered for such kind of acquisition by government?
What kind of document means?
Say when there is a seller and buyer, there is a purchase deed, sale
Yeah.
deed, agreement to sell.
Yeah.
So what kind of document is registered while acquisition of acquiring such land from the farmers?
They will register the document, and the ownership will change. If you are giving your land to the government, then
Is this
government will,
registered under the purchase deed or
yeah,
sale
they
deed?
will carry out the sale deed. And but there will the one thing there, they will not pay the stamp duty there. Stamp duty
But consideration will be mentioned.
Yes, yes.
Consideration will be mentioned.
And authority name will be changed. Otherwise, what will happen? He will sell that property again. It has happened many times.
So mutations will be there also.
Yeah. Government, the Sarkar, that means government name will be there on the 712 extract.
Maharashtra Shasan.
Yeah. Yes. Because what happened in the past, many times government authority was negligence. These properties were again
Sold in market.
sold by the owners. So it may happen, because if how the register office can come to know, only on the basis of ownership only. Otherwise, he will register the document. How
These instances are available on IGR.
Different land acquiring authority is different.
These instances are available on IGR.
These instances are available. But one thing I think I will suggest, because it is very difficult to collect such sale instances, very difficult. But we people, we people must have some solution regarding this. I'm thinking regarding this, and then later we will discuss, because it is not possible to get such sales data easily, because the government of the authorities will not able to give people.
SLOs might be having this.
Yes, that's the main problem with you people. So we will think about this. So I will share my mobile number with you people, and so you can, if you have come across any difficulty.
Sir, excuse me, sir. One final question, sir.
Okay.
Sir, one form, there are 5, 6 adjacent survey numbers, sir. One person has registered for 20 lakhs, another person adjacent number registered for 40 lakhs. Some people has in square feet, even though it is in acre. Some people, modified the land to convert it to in square feet rate. In that case, which rate government will take, sir?
Yeah, that time they will consider the zoning. That means the whether it is from the agricultural zone or whether it is from the other commercial or residential or industrial zone. They will consider this zoning, and accordingly they will pay. Because there is huge difference between the agricultural rate and residential commercial rates. So they will certainly consider.
They will adopt residential rate to this one, sir, and even though adjacent
Yes. Because if it is a residential property, then it will be mandatory for them to give square meter rates. But if it is agricultural land, they will give hectare rates.
Okay, sir.
They will not give the square meter rates.
Hello.
Sir, I had a difficulty when dealing with land acquisition authorities, that they are not understanding the concept of development potential or FSI. What they are doing is simply area of land into whatever is the prevalent rate. So any guidance or any precedents on this?
Yeah, but you can, because this is a particular case, because I think if you provide some documents with me, so that I can discuss this. This is a particular case, and I will try to explain, because what happened.
Sir, where are you based? You are in Bombay?
No, I am living in Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, Aurangabad, Maharashtra.
Aurangabad. Okay, so I'll contact you on your phone numbers.
Yes, that's why I am sharing my number. I want to share my experience with you people. That's why I have selected this chapter. And one more thing, if you
Yes,
people have any difficulty, you can suggest me the topics so
Right,
that I
okay.
can deliver that, because I have lot of experience this on this town. Not only
Okay.
I have handled so many town planning land layout
Right.
cases, building permission cases, then building
Yeah.
bylaws, then TDR cases, then capital gain cases, then valuation cases. I have a huge experience. I can handle any type of valuation case, any type of.
Okay. Okay.
Whether,
Sir,
whether
Thank
it
you
is a
how
very
court
does-
much.
matter or a.
Sir, how does compensation for leasehold properties work?
So I think for the leasehold property, you know the
Yeah.
MIDC, there are some different rates there because the property rates in MIDC or any other authorities, they have their own rates in their prevailing zone. So, but in particularly Maharashtra, while working with the regulator, we were fixing the rate for this MIDCs also. But there in some region, part of the region, in the industrial zone, they fix their own rates.
So is it, the DP is only for 20 years? What happens after 20 years?
No, it is going to revise them. Afterwards, it is after every 20 years, they will revise the development plan.
So any reservations can be exchanged or altered?
Before revision of the plan, you can modify the reservations. There are certain provisions regarding these modifications. That means section 37.
Every 20 years? Every
No,
time?
not
After-
necessary. You can suppose you have the reserve site in the development plan. So it is not necessary. This enter, I will go with this plan. I have this development plan with me. This is the development
Okay,
plan.
okay,
This is going to be revised after 20 years. But suppose this reservation is there, and if you are given, there are certain provisions, then you can modify according to the section 37 of the Town Planning Act. So you can modify in between, because there are certain provisions. I cannot explain here, but there are provisions that in between also you can modify these reservations, particular reservation, not the entire plan. Okay.
okay,
So
okay, okay.
later I will share my mobile number, and you people, if you come across any difficulty regarding these valuations, any valuation, any type of valuation, then you can approach to me. Save my number, 88 55 81 37 06.
Do you know, sir, Mr. Fadtare?
Repeat करो. Please repeat.
Hello, can you repeat, sir?
88
Yes.
88 55
Yes.
81
81
37
37
06.
06. Good name, sir.
Anil Godghase.
Okay. Thank you.
So thank you everyone.
Sir,
Kajal,
Bombay? From where you? Bombay, sir?
no, I am from Maharashtra, Aurangabad.
Okay, okay.
I have worked as an assistant director of town planning and valuation for more than 30 years. And I have worked with all these departments, registration department, then land acquisition department, town planning department, and other departments. So that's why I have, and I have prepared some development plan also. So that's why I can able to answer for every question, whether it is from valuation or it is from the town planning, or whether it is from the bylaws, any building bylaws. So thank you
Have you
everyone.
worked in Pune? Have
No,
you
I
worked
have
in Pune?
no, I have not worked in Pune.
Okay.
But so many friends, my friends are there working there. Now still they are working, and many are retired there. But I know I have so many friends there working in all over Maharashtra. If, in Mumbai, then Thane, and every part of the not only this town planning department, but in registration department also. because I have worked for 10 to 12 years in the Treasury Department as a valuation officer. And I was the main officer for the 8 district regarding this ready reckoner. That means guideline rates. I have fixed the rates for the entire 8 districts. For this guideline rate, I was the officer there. And these are the rates prevailing. These are the rates prevailing nowadays in the.
In Gujarat, I think what about Aurangabad? But in Gujarat, the guideline rate and market rate is very different.
Yes, that's the main problem. This problem is everywhere. There's the same problem is there.
So,
But
from where I can get exact evidence?
you can contact me. I will tell what is happening. You tell me later on. Then I will try to explain you. And what you should do, I will try to explain them. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much,
Everyone,
sir.
how was
Thank
session?
you, sir. Thank you.
Please give the remarks regarding my session so that. And,
Wonderful
and,
session, sir. Like to join more of your sessions. Very
Yes.
informative. Thank you,
I will.
thank you.
I'm very much interested. You suggest some topics also, so that I
Yes,
can
yes,
give-
certainly. We will suggest, sir, the problem we come across while doing such type of cases. We would
Yeah,
like
yeah,
to
yeah.
suggest some topic and in advance so that we can take up your enlightenment.
Yes. I will certainly. I'm going to help you people because what
Thank you so much.
my target is to work at the international level. That is my target now.
Yes, sir, we want to get your experience, a part of yours.
And at the age of I have 55, I have cleared this IBA exam. That's my target. I want to work in this field for many years now. So I will try to share my little knowledge with you people. So
Very extensive, very extensive. We liked it.
yeah, okay. Thank you, everyone. Is Kajal ma'am? Shall I conclude this session?
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So,
Surely.
Come to the end of this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. Having was nice with you.
Sir,
Sir,
for covering the topic very nicely and in depth. There was this is a new topic for CEP, and you have done very nicely. Thank you very much, sir.
In
Thank
fact,
you
this was
for
discussed. In fact,
participating.
this was discussed in our chapter, Chhattisgarh chapter, last month regarding this compensation of government land. So this has been very enriching to us.
Yes, sir. So thank you, participants, for participating, and please share your feedback, and also please suggest new topics for CEPs. Thank you very much.
Thank
We'll
you.
be sharing
Thank you.
this program. Thank you.
So one more announcement is there. We have a next CEP on 5th November, that is Sunday. And the topic will be use of index in valuation with practical cases. For 4
Please,
points.
ma'am,
So,
please, ma'am, send your link on this number, please.
yes, sir, I will share the details
Okay.
with you all.
Yes,
So have
yes,
a look
ma'am.
over.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Kajal madam. Thank you.
Sir, thank you.
Thank you, sir.